Hi guys, I'm John from John's Pipe Journey, and this is a video response for Skyler of the North Georgia piper. And right now he's got 293 subscribers. He's growing fast. You wanted to know the history of our hometown, or where we grew up, and I'm trying to get this in before the deadline, and so I'm going to have to just kind of read the history. I'm from Vincennes, Indiana, which has a huge history. It was the oldest town in Indiana, and I'll just read this. It's the city of Vincennes is rich in history as the oldest city in Indiana. Previously a French fur trading post, Vincennes has been at the forefront of development of Indiana and the Midwest. Vincennes was founded in 1732 by Francis Marie Bissot Sieur de Vincennes, probably butchered that, a French military officer. This area was part of New France, and the military's post was built on the Wabash River to protect the rich fur trade here from the British. When the fur trade died out, this area turned to agriculture. This military post became the oldest continuous settlement, making Vincennes the oldest town in Indiana. 47 years later, George Rogers Clark and his small army took the largest land conquest in the Revolutionary War from the British in 1779. Greatly disadvantaged in number of troops compared to those inside Fort Sackville, Clark relied on marksmanship of his troops and the ability to convince the British of a larger army to win the fort. Today, the George Rogers Clark National Historic Park in Vincennes is a site of the largest memorial monument west of Washington, D.C., which honors the heroic accomplishments of Colonel Clark and his men. The city of Vincennes is one of only 3 communities in the entire state of Indiana with a national park within our city limits. And all the land that was where Fort Sackville was given to them by the French gentleman that built the house that my aunt lives in now. My mother grew up in a house that was in Illinois, just across the river, because Vincennes is right on the Wabash River, and across the river is Illinois. And my great-grandfather came from Ohio and bought the house from this French guy. And I don't remember what his name is now, but he gave that property to Vincennes for Fort Sackville. And you could see Vincennes from their house until all the trees started growing up. But that house is so old that I think it was from the 1700s. And I stayed there a few years ago, and I was sleeping in a museum. The bed I was in was from the early 1800s. I mean, everything in that house is original. There's gas lamps still in that house in the basement because they didn't take them out. They just added electric lights. But in the backyard off the kitchen was a big tank that had carbide in it, and they had water dripping on it, and it was forming, I think it's methane gas, not positive. But anyway, then that gas came back up into the house and was piped all around and ran all their lights inside. And then they switched over to DC, and they had a generator run by a windmill, and had giant old Victrola, the one with the big horn on it, that was just, everything in there is way over 100 years old. It's incredible. They basically didn't do anything but just kept everything inside there. And so anyway, my great-grandfather and my grandfather and my mother's home is a huge historic monument, but it is right across the river from Vincennes. So anyway, with that said, in 1800, the Indiana Territory was formed, and Vincennes, nestled along the Wabash River, became its capital. William Henry Harrison became its first governor, and then went on to become the United States' 9th president. Grouseland is a home he built, and his first brick home in the territory. Still stands today and is open for tours daily. As a side note, he also was the shortest term president of any other president. After he was elected, they were all partying and stuff, and he staggered outside and passed out in the snow and ended up getting pneumonia and died. So he wasn't around much after that. Anyway, Vincennes was at the heart of many of Indiana's firsts, including the site of the first Catholic church in Indiana, the first county, first newspaper, first Presbyterian church. That's where I grew up going there. First Masonic Lodge, first bank, and first medical society. In 1801, the Jefferson Academy was founded, eventually becoming known as the Vincennes University. This is one of the oldest institutions of higher education in the United States. Vincennes' history is also rich in agriculture. Many French influenced homes and buildings dot the city. Many of the buildings are built not only around the pre-1900s, but also closer to the beginning of the 1800s. For instance, the Indiana Tory Capitol Building, considered the oldest major government building in the Midwest, was built in 1805 as a tailor shop. A visit to Vincennes Convention and Visitor Bureau. Oh, never mind for that. Vincennes has continued to become the forefront of development of Indiana and the Midwest, and preserves the history and charm of a city rich in history. There's a great video on the history of Vincennes. It's a YouTube video that is just unbelievable. I watched that and I couldn't believe all the history there that I didn't know a whole lot about. But anyway, this is my entry to your giveaway, and congratulations once again. You're zooming right along. I think you're almost at 300. Yeah, you're just 7 away from 300 as of today. Congratulations once again, Skyler, and until we meet again, God bless.